1997 constitutions. Yankuba felt he was betrayed by the commission and his right violated when he stood up and left the hall.
Proceed, please.
And later posted to Farafenye between 1993 and 1994.
During this period, can you tell us what were the problems within the Gambia National Army?
I am not going to testify regarding that, please. I invoke my constitutional immunity on all those issues.
Mr. Ture, I warn you that this is not the place to raise the issue of immunity. If you want to raise immunity claim, you take it to the High Court. Let me just finish. This is a truth commission. It's not a civil or criminal proceeding. It is, in fact, not a legal proceeding. So the claimed immunity does not apply to a fact-finding mission by the Commission of Inquiry.
Counsel, I still stand by my position that I invoke the constitutional immunity. The Constitution is the supreme law of this country. Any proceeding that is against the 1997 Constitution, I am not going to testify, and I will not answer any questions.
You may want to hide behind that, Mr. Ture. Let me finish, Mr. Ture. You cannot be interrupting me when I speak. I would also accord you the same respect. I would not interrupt you when you speak. So we have to observe proper decorum in the proceedings of the Truth and Reconciliations Commission. Agreed?
I'm listening.
Good. I will not enter into a legal debate with you as to whether immunity applies here or not. I would proceed to ask my questions and would remind you that it is an offense under the laws of the Commission, under the TRRC Act, for failing to answer questions by the Commission. You understand?
I understand. I have gone through your laws and your rules of procedure.
Thank you very much.
So Counsel, please let us not prolong this issue. In the sense that I have appeared, when you ask me whether I'm going to appear and testify, I made it clear that I am going to appear. So the issue of testimony before this commission is out. And I do not recognize the legitimacy of this commission when I have constitutional immunity. I am not going to continue further.
I would tell you.
You may also use all your legal tools and then we will proceed and see. I thank you.
I'm not speaking. His action triggered anger and disappointment from the commissioners, triggering the chairman of the TRRC, Dr. Lamin Sise, to issue a statement when he stated that the commission have on several occasions informed Yankuba if he failed to respect the asofuna issued by the TRRC, which constitutes a contempt of court and thereby liable to be referred to the High Court for prosecution. Considering Yankuba's attitude, Dr. Sise ordered the immediate arrest of Yankuba Ture pursuant to Section 15.1H and 15.2B of the TRRC Act 2007.
Mr. Yankuba Ture has also been informed on several occasions that failure to respect a subpoena issued by the TRRC constitutes a contempt of court and is therefore liable to be referred to the High Court for prosecution. In the light of this, the Commission has to act firmly and within the parameters of the law to ensure that actions of this nature are dealt with the full force of law. I therefore have no choice but to order the immediate arrest of Mr. Yankuba Ture pursuant to Sections 15.1H and the 15.2B of the TRRC Act 2017, and to hand him over forthwith to the police station that has jurisdiction over offenses within this area and a referral to be submitted as soon as possible to the Attorney General's chambers for prosecution of Mr. Yankuba Toure at the High Court.
Yankuba was then arrested by the police intervention unit who rushed him to the Kairaba police station, where he was later transferred to the Central Prisons Mile 2 in Banjul. Meanwhile, sittings at the TRRC is now adjourned until 8 July 2019, when hearing will resume. Sajo Sambu reports for Africa TV News.
Oh, well, it was a very tough sitting there today at the TRRC. That was our reporter Sajo Sambu giving us details of what actually happened there. Hatis Sengiz, the fiancé of slain Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi, has called for an international probe into his murder, days after United Nations expert report blamed Saudi Arabia for his killing inside the kingdom's consulate in Istanbul, saying not only high-level officials are involved in the killing, but the report says Saudi Arabia has tried to eliminate the evidence of it. Amadou Kante.
Fiancé of murdered Saudi dissident journalist Jamal Khashoggi, Hatis Sengiz called on the United Nations to take the next step in the investigation of his killing. She was speaking during a panel called Silence Dissident at the UN headquarters in Geneva on Tuesday. The comment followed the release of the report from the UN specialist on extrajudicial killings, Agnes Kalamad.
Burada raporun önemli gördüğüm noktalardan en önemlisi
I haven't fully gotten over this incident. It has been about 9 months. Even though there are signs that she's dead, the fact that there's still nobody sometimes makes me think, is Jamal alive? Is Jamal been held somewhere? This is an unbelievable different kind of trauma. It is not something that human psychology can accept. The most important thing I have seen in this report is the part that indicates that a person who may one day be head of state might possibly be involved in this incident. The report points to the fact that important Saudi big officials may have been involved in this affair. It says this should be pursued, and it says that an international murder investigation should be opened. In this regard, the report is really very important and I fully support it.
gidilmesine dair bir takım taleplerde bulunulması bu tam anlamıyla bir skandal.
The UN Special Rapporteur Agnes Kalamad, who was present among the panelists, called on the world not to turn a blind eye or to turn the page on a killing of Mr. Khashoggi, and there is a need to take the action in response to it.
I don't think the world can afford to turn a blind eye or to turn the page on a killing such as that of Mr. Khashoggi that had taken place in a foreign country, that violated a key principle of international relations, which is the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations.
Kalamad's report was made public on June 19 and stated that Saudi Arabia was responsible for Khashoggi's killing. Kalamad will present her report to the UN's Human Rights Council on Wednesday. Saudi author Jamal Khashoggi, a columnist for the Washington Post, was allegedly assassinated and dismembered in the Saudi Arabia embassy in Istanbul in October 2018. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Amadou Kante.
Hatis Sengiz, the fiancé of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, they're calling on international bodies to delve into the issue more. As countries around the world continue to point fingers at Saudi Arabia for the death of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi, Britain is no exception, with Prime Minister Theresa May calling on Saudi Arabia to thoroughly investigate the matter in accordance with international law. Responding to questions during a parliamentary adjournment debate, Prime Minister May emphasized the need for accountability for what she describes as a horrific murder. Let's take a look.
Questions to the Prime Minister.
Just last week, the UN Special Rapporteur Agnes Kalamad said there is credible evidence that the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and other high-level officials are personally responsible for the horrific murder of Jamal Khashoggi. Yeah. Does the Prime Minister accept that assessment?
Yeah. I say, right, honourable gentlemen, we do want to see accountability for this horrific murder. I raised the death of Jamal Khashoggi with King Salman at the Sharm summit, That's the second time I've done so. I've raised it with the Crown Prince at the G20 last year. I've stressed the importance of those responsible being held to account, of due process being followed. We expect Saudi Arabia to take the action necessary to ensure such violations of international and national laws can't happen again. The right direction, the right way to take this is through a judicial process, and we're obviously closely following the continuing investigation. We expect it to proceed in line with internationally recognised legal standards.
Prime Minister Theresa May, they're calling on Saudi Arabia to thoroughly investigate the incident of Jamal Khashoggi. A widely anticipated Gambian national broadband network has been officially launched today at the Coral Beach Hotel in Bruford. The project is supported by People's Republic of China at the tune of $25 million, with Gamtel and Huawei being the facilitators. The national broadband project is geared towards providing a fast and reliable internet throughout the country. Al-Hassan Sise has more.
The Ministry of Information, Communication and Infrastructure, alongside the Management and Board of Directors, Gamtel, in collaboration with the Embassy of the People's Republic of China in the Gambia and Huawei Company, have today launched the Gambia National Broadband Network at Coral Beach Hotel in Bruford. The project goes with the theme making the Gambia a digital nation and creating a modern information society. The project funding is facilitated by the government of the Gambia through a $25 million loan from the Chinese government. The National Broadband Network project process began when a bilateral agreement between the government of the Gambia and the People's Republic of China was signed in December 2017. The National Broadband Network is expected to transform the Gambia into a digital society where access to internet will be a thing of the past and provision of fast and affordable network throughout the country. The project will improve the lives of Gambians as services like e-commerce, e-business, e-government and e-medicine will be available. The National Broadband Network project will provide fiber to houses, businesses, and to the operators as the ECO1 project is extended to 120 kilometers of fiber to enable people to have access to the last miles. Speaking at the launching, the Information Minister, Honorable Ibrahim Silla, highlighted the significance and the impact of the National Broadband Network for the Gambia. He also stressed, as the minister responsible for the ICT sector, his ministry is working on policies and also Information and Communication Act to augment the National Broadband Network.
The Gambia is one of the few African countries to achieve the fiber-ring backbone connectivity. But this magnificent infrastructure will make less impact on our lives if our private sector and our health, education and agricultural systems don't utilize it. My ministry is currently formulating a policy that aims to enhance the effective utilization of our broadband and other ICT infrastructure. The Ministry of Information and Communication Infrastructure is also reviewing the Information and Communication Act to make it more robust to respond to the needs of our time.
Delivering a speech on behalf of the President, the Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Touré, remarked the National Broadband Network will solve the lack of access to internet and will also transform the ICT sector, with emphasis that it will also reignite Gamtel.
I am of the view that the NBN we are launching today will help in not just transforming the ICT landscape of the country, but also Gamtel in particular. The NBN will be the game changer for Gamtel, a company once stands number 2 in Africa. My government is committed to the transformation and repositioning of Gamtel and of course your subsidiary Gamtel to make you more competitive and react to current realities and dynamism of the sector.
On the part of the guardians of the project Gamtel, its director, Mr. Sidi Jete, delved into the adjustments of the ECOWAD which will enable the ease access of internet. He also enumerated on the developments with regards to the National Broadband Network.
The National Broadband project started in earnest on 1st September 2017 with the planned end date of 31st March 2019. The principal objectives of these projects were to extend current ECOWAS wide area network called ECO1 to increase the geographic scope of access to broadband service to the communities currently concerned. create new fiber optic-based distribution network around the whole country, to upgrade the capacity of all network backhaul and access links, as well as to create an additional updated link, deploy the national data center. All the above objectives, Your Excellency, has been achieved.
The National Broadband Network is defined to have gone through a 15-month process and have been delivered on time and on budget. The project is already handed over to Gamtel. Gamtel, through the National Broadband Network project, is expected to provide affordable and accessible internet throughout the country. This is believed would earn the Gambia a digital economy. Reporting for iAfrica TV News, I am Al-Hassan Sise.
The National Broadband Network, G-Fiber, was launched today at the Coral Beach Hotel to enable fast internet across the country. Coming up after the break, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi held talks in New Delhi earlier today during a state visit by Mike Pompeo. Fear over electoral rigging rocks Zimbabwe as the country.
Yesterday, after listening to Prime Minister May's assessment of the state of the negotiations,
Welcome back. We remind you that you're watching the World Today News Bulletin. We now take a look at our remaining stories. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi held talks in New Delhi earlier today during a state visit by U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, in which he is said to have addressed issues ranging from trade to New Delhi's long-standing defense and energy ties to Russia and Iran in the course of his visit. The two met ahead of Pompeo's meeting with Indian Foreign Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar. Despite promises made by United States and India after the Cold War, the two countries have not been able to live up to them amid serious problems over tariffs, flows of data, and tighter Indian rules and online commerce in one of the fastest growing large markets. U.S. Vice President Mike Pence launched the Latinos for Trump coalition in Miami on Tuesday as part of an effort to win over Latino voters ahead of the next presidential election in November 2020. At the coalition launch, the Vice President attacked Democrat policies and accused the party of wanting to bring a ruinous form of socialism to the U.S.
Sunshine State for the 2019 kickoff of Latinos for Trump. Now, Latino Americans know better than most about the cost of socialism. It's impoverished generations. It's stolen the liberty of millions. I know that for many of you in this room, many of your families fled socialist regimes in this hemisphere, and you came to freedom in America. You know, Latino Americans know that it was freedom, not socialism, that gave us the most prosperous and powerful nation in the history of the world. It was freedom. Latino Americans know that it was freedom, not socialism, that ended slavery, won 2 world wars, and stands today as a beacon of hope for all the world. And so here at this kickoff of Latinos for Trump, we must say, as the President said in his State of the Union address, America will never be a socialist country.
That was Vice President of the U.S. Mike Pence launching a Latinos for Trump campaign. Well, viewers, that's all we have for you on the World Today News Bulletin. For more on these and other stories, kindly log on to our website, iafrica.tv. I am Fatmata Jaju. Bye for now.
You are giving it to parliamentarians. Where is the source? The parliamentarians themselves should challenge that.
Yes, APRC and GMT were opposition. All other parties that doesn't concern either UDP or NRP or PDP, they are all in the government.
So we borrow one
Man, dama against ID card mu nekk $450. Man mosuma si ànd te du mosuma sa ànd.
yow xaalis boobu nu mu fa ñëwee loolu nga war a njëkk a laajte because social security institution doo xam ne social security waru fa ñàkk a xaalis fi profit social security loolu waxtaani banda la loolu dafa war a automatique.
Baro lu ma ko ñaan mooy na wàcce 3 years am su demee 5 years dafa am problème leadership bu fi bàyyi dafa bon right now amul direction bu correct réew mi ñëpp seen sa am nañ sa promesse nguuri Baro.
Benn nit mënut a jegal réew da ngaa def li nga war a def bàyyi keneen ñu continuer
God bless the Gambia.
Hey, God bless the Gambia. Hey, God bless the Gambia. Hey, God bless the Gambia. Hey, God bless the Gambia. So say Opula, Sarahule Ola Kuala Jola, for the Gambia, our homeland. Sunu de Kala, Nyokoboka, keep the environment clean, Lula Warla, throwing trash on the street, Lilu Naula, he wanna get better, Lilu Rola, who can stand is a gota, Yonin Dola, who's a benson better me, Regu Bimla, corruption to office, public dishonor, qualification, you